Hi everyone, happy growing. I have posted a couple videos on here of doing orchids in water culture, and that generated a lot of interest in how do I save my orchid once it's already in stress, and does water culture work for as such for an orchid like that? My answer to that would be maybe. Some phals take to water culture and some don't. A few of them that don't take to water culture, I have found it's because I'm doing something wrong, not the plant itself. So with that being said, I'm going to show you my first stressed out orchid. I got this orchid about 2 months ago, and of course I trimmed off all the roots that I thought were dead. I have since learned that you don't trim roots because of the color, you trim roots because of whether they're mushy or not, which I explained in my other orchid video. All right, let's look at her. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she just screaming, help me? She is, I know. So, what I have done with her is I've kept her in a vase probably about like that. Well, it was that. What am I talking about? And I've placed her in there so that that very bottom part doesn't touch ever the water. But the roots are getting a whiff of water. Because if you let that bottom part touch water, it's going to rot and it's not going to be good. So with this video, this is the first time that I've really checked her, because I have learned, walk away, put them in this water and just walk away, or basically whatever medium you decide to grow them in, put it in there and walk away, quit fussing with them. So, okay, so this is the first time probably in about a month that I have come back and checked on her, besides just topping her water off. And I noticed when I've taken her out, because on this video, I was actually going to change her into another type of medium, and I'll get into that in a minute. But with this particular orchid, I'm going to keep her doing just exactly what I'm doing, because not only do I notice there's a new leaf coming out, but also, I hope you can see that, I have two little root nodes coming out. You see those? Which tells me that she's going to be fine. This leaf is very dehydrated, you're right, but this leaf is firm. So, you know what? I'm leaving her. I'm going to leave her just like she is, and I'm going to move on to the next orchid. Okay, this little guy is funny, because I've had him in water culture for probably, let's say 3 months. I rescued him from a clearance rack, and when I pull him out, I notice that he's nothing is touching the water, that he's getting all these air roots. Now I realize that's because no roots are getting into the water. So he's looking for water somewhere. Okay? His leaves are a little dehydrated. You're right. They're floppy. This one's good. I mean, all in all, he's pretty good. He's got some nice new root growths on there. But what I'm going to do with him in particular is I'm going to try to get a root in water. Now, with that being said, I don't want to have this whole bottom part in water. But I would like to get just one root there. So with looking at it, I'm going to choose this root right here. And I'm going to put him in there, just like that. And I'm going to make sure that that one root is actually in water. See that? See how that's done? The top is not in water, but that one thick, it's a good thick root too, good healthy root, is in the water. That's going to be enough, because hopefully I can start training some of these roots maybe, or not training. I don't want to inhibit the plant on how it wants to grow. If it wants air roots, hey, I'm all for it. But if I can just encourage some of those roots to grow down into the water, the next orchid I have is exactly like the last one. If you notice, she really doesn't have any roots hanging down, right? But she's got good green roots here, and she's got some awesome aerial roots coming out. So again, I'm going to leave her and walk away. But before I leave her and walk away, I'm going to take this longest root here. It's a nice, good, long, healthy root. I'm going to put her in the glass. I'm going to get that root in water, and I'm going to leave it. Now, I might change this vase out at some point, because she's pretty delicate. She's pretty top heavy. So she might end up flipping out of this damn vase, and then I won't realize it for like 2 years later, and she'll be dead and shriveled on my floor or something like a goldfish. But all in all, I'm going to leave her in that vase. All right, this next orchid is a mini. See her? I have her in a shot glass because I absolutely couldn't find anything that would fit her. But I've checked her, and she's getting some nice little roots. But if you notice, when she's in this shot glass, that bottom part isn't in water. No touch in the water there. She's just getting what I call a whiff of water, and that seems to be doing it. The new root, or the new leaf, is nice and firm, and she's also getting some root growth on her. So again, I'm not going to do anything with her. I'm going to leave her. But I am going to tell you, if you can see, in the middle of all orchids is this hard little nub. You see it right there? Hard little nub. Never let that nub get into the water. If you keep that nub in water, it's going to die. So I really, really work hard into keeping that nub as dry as possible. So again, I'm going to just put her back. I'm not going to do a water change. I'm not going to do nothing to her. But I am going to put her back, and I'm going to move on. Okay. This orchid has been in water culture for, I don't know, maybe 4 months, I'm going to say. And I'm pleased with how she's doing. Her leaves are awesomely firm. And her roots look really good. You see how she's got those nice 2 green roots? You see that? But you also see these little dried shrivel things. That's completely normal. They die off, and then they come back with roots that adapt to the water instead of bark or sphagnum moss. She's also getting some nice aerial roots. And if you notice, that root color there is almost a silver compared to a root that's in water. Both good indications. I mean, they're good, solid, not mushy roots. So she's good to go. Again, I'm just going to throw her back in there and move on. Now this one right here, I want to do, I don't know. She's not doing good. She ain't doing good at all, okay? I don't see any kind of root. I do see a root right here, but it's on the verge of me cutting it off, really. The nub is still there. She's got some black stuff going there. She's dehydrated. So this one, I am not going to put back in water culture. What I'm going to do for her is I'm going to put her in some leca. And that is these little clay balls that you can get on Amazon. The reason why I like to put her in leca versus sphagnum moss or, let's say, bark is, number one, it's going to keep her moist, but not overly moist, so she's going to rot. And it's going to encourage root growth. It's light enough, airy enough that she's going to get plenty of air to her roots. So, and she needs some water. She needs water. So, with that being said, I'm just going to fill this jar up with some leca. Now my leek has been soaking. It's a little damp already. And then I'm just going to stick her right in there. All right. I'm going to fill her up with leca. I'm not worried about the crown right now because the crown, see how that crown's still out? It's out from the medium. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up to about I don't know, right about there with some water. Okay, and then I'm going to again leave her walk away. I'll come back to her probably in about 2 weeks and we'll see if that helps her. If it doesn't, I give up on her because sometimes you just got to give up. Now this one right here, my daughter sent home with, she's trying to get me to save it. If you notice, the leaves are yellow on the bottom. But again, I'm not going to take those off because the plant isn't giving them up willingly. This one's turning a little yellow. I'm going to lose that one next. This one looks okay, and I do see a new little leaf coming in there. It did not like water culture, and it was so, look at that. Look what she did. Look what she did to this poor little thing. It has nothing to stabilize it really in the water. And I want it to feel kind of secure and also moist. So that's why I chose to put this one in leca. And then I'm going to fill it up with just a little bit more water. Let's go about there. And there you go. And then I'm going to walk away. Now this one isn't in distress, but I did want to show you one, a good healthy orchid that has been in water culture for about 6 months. Believe it or not, it looked like that one right here when I first got it. And she's looking awesome now. See, she's got good roots growing. There's no mushy. Well, there's a little, but we'll deal with that later. Roots look all nice and colorful. The leaves are awesome. Nice and hydrated. But I'm not doing anything with her. I'm just going to throw her back in the vase. But I wanted to show you what a good, healthy water culture orchid root system, leaves look like. And she's got a spike. And last but not least, this one has been in water culture for about a year now. And he is my pride and joy. I love him. He's gotten lots of aerial roots. And if you notice, there's all sorts of colors in that root. There's black, there's silver, there's green. You know, as long as they're not mushy, I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, there's a few dried ones in there, but maybe next time when I check on him, I might trim those. But I just wanted you to see what a nice, healthy water culture orchid. And this was on clearance. I rescued it. I also wanted to point out that the vase has algae in it. I don't worry about that. If it stinks, that's when you worry. Then you just pour it out, rinse the vase, and put the orchid back in and put water in there. But she's good. She likes her algae for whatever reason. So I'm going to put her back in there, and I'm going to walk away and put her back. So that's basically, like I said, if you want to really try, what you want to really try to do with an orchid is to encourage root growth. However you can accomplish that, do it, because without the roots, the plant's going to die. I have found, though, that I really like the leca versus water or bark or sphagnum, because it lets a lot of air and light into the roots. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and happy growing.